Let's go in 5, 4. Do not burp. 3, 2.
It's just a baby burp.
1. Thou view, thou view, thou view, thou view,
Vow to view, vow, 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 vow to view, vow to view each other's movies, even though we don't always like them, but it's okay because we love each other and movies too.
Hey everyone, welcome to Vow to View, your Doof Media podcast, all about marriage and the things we make each other watch. My name is Elyse Daly.
And I'm Scott Daly.
And together,
we're the Dailies. You know, you have a podcast voice too. I just realized it for the first time. You're, hey everybody. That is not your normal voice. Yeah, when I do my introduction,
but then I go into my normal voice.
No, you don't.
This is not my normal voice.
No, it's not.
No.
Well, that is. That resigned, miserable detachment.
Yeah.
This is
how I normally talk to you.
This is the weekly podcast where my wife Elyse and I select a theme and then pick 2 movies loosely tied to that theme and then make each other watch them.
Yes.
And we get on some microphones and talk about those movies and the things we learned about each other. And Elyse gives the world's biggest yawn.
I've got big yawns
in the middle of the intro.
Mouth.
This week we are...
Just wish you were more exciting.
This week we are concluding our theme... Nerd alert with my pick.
Nerd alert.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Nerd.
But first, we got some other stuff to cover, Elyse.
Yes, we do, Scotty.
What's up first?
Off tour. Bachelor.
I'm not even that committed to it.
This is a reality show week. This is exciting.
Yeah, so...
We're going to talk about a reality show.
Normally at this part we talk about The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but that is not on right now. So instead we're talking about the other television show I get to watch on a Monday night instead of Elyse making me watch that terrible stuff. And what's the show we're going to talk about this week?
Well, we watched it a long time ago, actually. But did we finish it up this week? But we're talking about Queer Eye, Season 3.
Sorry, you didn't say words there. You just went... We're
talking about Queer Eye, Season 3.
Season 3 of Queer Eye.
On Netflix.
It used to be called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
But now it is not just limited to those straight guys.
So did you watch
Queer Eye for anybody?
Did you watch the show back in the early 2000s?
Yes, of course.
Wow.
Why?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, I did.
I've never liked reality TV.
This is so much better.
Yeah, this is much better.
Yeah.
So there are 5 of them.
5 of them, yes.
5 of them, they're based, because it's the Fab
Jonathan,
5.
Karamo, Bobby, Anthony, and Tan. What?
Which is which? Go, quick.
So Tan is the British guy.
No, I mean, they each have roles in the show.
Oh, you're actually going to quiz me on that like I wouldn't know?
I wanted you to do it as fast as you could. And
Tan is fashion, Anthony is cook, Karamo is culture, Bobby is design, and Jonathan is...
Hair.
I don't know, beauty, I wanted to say instead. Yeah.
Well, good for you,
What about
Elyse.
you? What can you tell me a fact about each of them? Go.
Jonathan has a podcast called Getting Curious.
Uh-huh. And another podcast called... He's won a podcast award for this one.
Also Getting Curious?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones? Mm-hmm. Is he talking about Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Did you not know that?
No.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was what he was big for before he got on Queer Eye.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Getting Curious one. Tan is known for French tux.
Yes. He's from?
The United Kingdom.
Yes. Originally from?
I don't know.
Gosh, Scott, who are you? Okay, tell me something about Anthony.
Anthony doesn't make very complex food, and everyone gives him shit for it.
His family is from Poland. He's a citizen of
Poland.
Canada.
Okay. Why do you know all these things?
Okay, tell me something about Karamo.
Karamo was on The Real World.
Yes. He has how many children?
7.
2. How many are actually biological children?
0.
1.
Not doing very good at this.
Tell me something about Bobby.
Loves design. Loves it. Rough childhood.
Yes.
Religious parents.
Yes. I know the least about Bobby. He's married.
I guessed right.
He's married. Yeah.
I knew at least half of them had super religious parents that were not happy with them coming out.
I think it was just Bobby.
No, I think Anthony was too. I feel like.
Not that I remember.
All right.
Tan does, but different religion.
But, okay, so what is this show about, Elyse?
Okay, so basically these 5 guys come in and they just rock your world.
They make you cry is what they do.
Oh my gosh, they make us cry. And I guess they make the people that are on the show
They make everybody cry.
They just like come in and speak so much life into these people and just make them believe that they're the most wonderful and beautiful people in the entire world. No, they don't
make them believe. They are the most wonderful and beautiful people in the entire world. And this
you think that.
Uh-huh.
But they don't think that. So they're trying to help them believe that.
I don't like reality TV. You know this about me.
Yeah. But you love this show.
I love this show. I think it's wonderful. I mean, I think like this is making people better, right? Like this is like it is helping people. It is helping the people around the people. They've done a wide variety of people. That's why it's not called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy anymore, because they have done men, women, they have done trans men, they have done people like that one poor kid who was that girl that was completely disowned from her family when she came out as gay. I mean, it's just like there's all these people that for one reason or another they are in a rut in their life, and it's not just about a makeover. That is part of it.
Yeah.
But it is just people coming to tell you how amazing you are, and you're right, to help you learn to believe these things about you. And they're so nice all the time. Like Jonathan is everybody's favorite, I think, because he's the most outspoken.
He's the most extroverted out of them all.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's just so nice to everyone. Like, and yeah, I guess you could argue that he's putting on a performance for the cameras, but I don't believe that.
I mean, if you follow his Insta, this is total true Jonathan Van Ness.
It's just like every single person he said, he's like, oh my God, you have the most beautiful hair ever.
Yeah.
I could do so much with this. It's just, God, it's so lovely.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel good. It really does.
So the first season, I really enjoyed it. I was bawling during a couple of the episodes, but all 5 of them, I did not like all 5 of them. Particularly, I did not like Bobby. Bobby was really annoying to me, the design guy. And he just was not super friendly, I didn't think, to everyone. And this season, I feel like I really got to know Bobby. And I feel like he opened up a lot and was able to help a lot of the people just based on his story. And I think that a lot of the reason that he seemed more standoffish at the beginning was because he had one of the more troubling background stories. Not that I think all 5 of these guys that are in Queer Eye that, are in that Fab 5, they have very hard backgrounds that they come from.
Yeah, well, guess what, babe? When you're LGBTQ,
but I think
you usually have a tough background more often than not.
Yeah. But I think that they're also very diverse, and they bring a lot to the table in that each of their experiences is very different. And so each of them really do bring like a good component where they complement each other. And that's why I think that they're able to help so many different people, is because they, as a 5 like group, complement each other so well and like fill each other up on their own so that they're able to help each other out. But like with Bobby, I didn't realize his whole story about how he left his house when he was 15 because he was disowned by his adopted family, which is exactly what had happened to that one girl that was adopted. And so it was just like heartbreaking to see that had happened to him, and then how he was able to help someone else out through that. I mean, it's just, that's the thing that's so beautiful about it, is that with as much adversity that people have to overcome, just to see people that are successful be able to help so many other people, that's just what I think is beautiful about it.
Yeah.
And so I just, I love this show.
I mean, I love that they like they have had people on there that they didn't agree with. Like that first episode of the second season was that very religious, very Southern Baptist religious woman who was estranged with her son because her son came out as gay, and she was embarrassed by him. She didn't want to bring him to church anymore, that kind of stuff. And they helped heal that wound. And it's like, I feel like a lot of like there's a lot of bad people in this world that have very bad opinions, and we shouldn't tolerate that stuff at all. It's ridiculous to tolerate that stuff. But I just love the idea that you can teach someone that thinks terrible things about you. You can help them grow. And I think they did
and with that, they were able to learn too.
Yeah. Karamo had the whole thing with the cop that one episode.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's hard to kind of ignore the fact that they're doing this for a reason, right? Like they're setting up these things because they're like thinking, yeah, this will be good TV. But if the result of this is good TV is people genuinely like finding help and bridging gaps and understanding people that they've never really hung out with very much, that's a good thing. A lot of people don't know any LGBT people, and so this concept is very foreign to them, right? Like it's just they don't. A lot of not seeing people as people is if you have no people around, and I just think being introduced to that, having to deal with people in that way, it's wonderful. So I love the show. They moved to Kansas City this year. I think they probably did like everyone in the Atlanta area that could have a makeover. They did. So they moved to Kansas City.
So when they come to Dallas, Scott,
I don't need one. And if you tell me I do, I'm going to be upset.
You don't need one because you have me.
No, that's not good though. That implies that without you, I would need them.
I mean, you probably would. I threw away your pearl snaps.
There's nothing wrong with pearl snaps.
Scott, how old are you?
I bought them when I was like 26.
Yeah, so why do you still have them?
Because I don't throw clothes away.
Well, you should. Hashtag Marie Kondo. That's what we're going to watch next.
No, we're not.
The Art of Tidying Up.
I refuse to watch The Art of Tidying Up.
Yeah, I don't really want to watch that either because it'll make me feel bad about myself.
Yeah. All right, so that's Queer Eye. All 3 seasons are on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, really do it.
Get you some tissue though first because man, both Scott and I are over there blubbering on the couch. We're like, are you crying? No. Are you crying? No.
I know it's reality TV. I know a lot of people don't like reality TV. I'm right there with you. But this is the exception to the rule. Absolutely. Queer Eye. If we could just have the Queer Eye blurg instead of the Bachelorette blurg forever.
Except they don't have it that often.
Well, yeah. I mean, the problem is
we could have done an episode by episode of this.
The Bachelor's on too often. That's the central problem.
We have a break until January.
No, we don't.
Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. I'm way off on my month.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It's going to start up again in like a month.
In May.
Then it's going to go all the way through summer.
Yeah.
And then
we've got BIP.
Fuck. All right. It's time for the next part of the show.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know. What is it?
Roses and Thorties?
Roses and Thorties! Wah, wah, wah. Is that a cat?
No. It was a thing. It was like the scoreboard.
Yes, it's time for the show where we talk about the good things and the bad things that have happened to us in the past week so we keep some frickin' perspective.
Yeah. Not everything is all Queer Eye.
Okay.
So beautiful. Make you cry.
Speaking of which,
I don't know. Yeah, what's up?
What is your first thorn, Elyse?
So I was really upset. One of my favorite things to do up in this area is go to Texas Tulips.
What is Texas Tulips? Please
Texas
explain.
Tulips is a field out in the middle of nowhere where they grow all of these tulips, and they're beautiful. There's rows and rows of tulips that you can go to. You can pick your own tulips. Mm-hmm. And it's so much fun. You can just, take pictures, have your tulips, get whichever ones you want. Anyways, so my little sister and her friends came this past weekend so they could go to Texas Tulips, and I didn't get to go with them because I had something else I was required to attend.
Some job function. Did you get paid for that?
What do you think?
You worked for like 3 hours on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't pay you?
No.
This is bullshit. Who's in charge of the administration at this school system?
I don't know. Who is?
More on that in a second. You don't know what my thorn is?
Yeah, what's your thorn?
Film Twitter.
I'd like to welcome everyone to our next section of the show called Scott Rants.
Scott Rants.
Scott rants about film Twitter. Please go now.
I used to do this on the Doofcast, but now I have you to do it too, so I'll do it here.
You used to have a section where you ranted.
It's called Scott's Soapbox, and yes, I did.
Oh, yay.
So this past weekend, a director of a very small indie movie took to Twitter to be a giant jackass to all critics, for not reviewing his movie.
Was it because his movie wasn't any good?
No.
Did people not care about his
I think
movie?
the few people that reviewed it actually really liked it. But he's like, basically, the argument is film critics don't actually like indie movies. And the response from the critics are like, look, dude, we only have a certain number of hours in the day. The movies we watch are the ones we either think we've been paid to write about or that we think we can successfully pitch to a website. Because most critics out there are working 2 jobs because it doesn't pay very much. So they're working a day job and then they're seeing movies in their free time. And so they end up seeing the big movies. It is not that critics do not like indie movies. It is that our industry is broken, and to get a movie review bought by a website, it's got to be a movie that people actually know about.
Okay.
So there's just this back and forth about, oh, critics don't actually like indie movies, and then of course the director of this movie was like, well, they should just review it for free. I made this movie and got paid $0 to make this movie. So is it too much to ask for them to give 90 minutes of their time for free? And it's just like,
he did some smart moves there.
that's why.
Because you know how much attention he's brought to it now?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But the whole thing is, it started this whole debate on film Twitter about whether critics like indie movies or not. And I hate film Twitter. It's so insular and terrible, and everyone thinks they're brilliant. And I just, like, I'm so exhausted by it. Like, of course critics like indie movies. Critics love movies. They do.
Well, then why don't they review more indie movies?
Because they don't get paid to do it.
Well, why don't they get paid to do it?
Because the
Well,
movie
who's in charge of paying people for film reviews?
corporations,
Well, who's in charge of those corporations?
rich people.
Those rich people.
The problem is,
It's all men. That's what the problem is. Where's
most
the women?
most film critics, when
Yeah.
they write movies, when they write articles about small movies, you
Yeah.
know who their target audience is? Other film critics. Because other film critics and cinephiles are the only ones that read reviews about little tiny movies that no one's ever heard of before.
Like
and
you, Scott.
I wish I could stand here on my little tiny platform
Stand on your desk.
and
Your
tell
ceilings
the
aren't tall
world
enough.
and tell the world about all the wonderful indie movies out there, but I don't have all
What's
the
your
time in the
favorite indie
world to
movie?
see them. I don't know.
What's your favorite indie movie you've seen this year?
I don't remember. I'd have to look at my movie list.
You know, I was talking to one of the teachers at school today, and she recently saw Green Book, and she asked if I'd seen it, and I said, no,
Nope.
we still haven't seen that one. And she told me that she was really surprised that it had won the Academy Awards, because she said, you know, it was good. I just don't see why people thought it was that good, and it would win out over all these other ones. Granted, the one that she was surprised it didn't win out over was Bohemian Rhapsody, but she saw the different movie. You know, I didn't see that one. So, anyways. But yeah, I was surprised. Did you find your best indie movie that you saw this year? Are you looking at your list?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's not really very many good indie movies that came out this year, is there?
I guess High Flying Bird was my favorite one I've seen this year.
Does Beach Bum count as an indie movie?
It does.
You liked Beach Bum.
I think it does. I mean, that's the other problem. That's the other problem with indie movies is there's like truly independent film, and then there's giant big corporations that have this little tiny division, like Fox Searchlight, which doesn't exist anymore because Disney bought them. Like those aren't really indie movies because they're distributed by a division of Fox, which is a giant corporation. Anyway, the point is,
Whatever happened to Miramax? Is Miramax still around? I used to look at Miramax, and I knew if it was Miramax, I would like the movie.
Well, that was a Weinstein company.
Oh, so that might have just gotten dissolved. But
Basically,
I'm pretty sure it happened a long time ago.
Basically, Disney bought them and then sold them out and spun them off, and I don't think it exists
I
anymore.
used to like Miramax. Yep, just wanted to let everyone know that.
I liked a lot of Miramax movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is, film Twitter is stupid.
Yeah.
Movies are great. Obviously, critics like movies. The system is fundamentally broken and people should get paid more money to write about movies.
Indeed.
There you go.
People should just get paid more money.
Yeah, in general. Everyone should get more money.
Everyone should.
Universal basic income. Do it now.
Okay.
Elyse.
Yes.
Rose.
I'm going swimming, Scott. We're having a pool party.
Pool party!
Everybody grab your swimsuits and let's go.
Please explain.
So a couple of years ago, I decided to get my master's degree in administration for schools.
Uh-huh. Which is a
Education
requirement,
administration,
right?
Which is a requirement if I decided I want to go into administration for school administration, meaning assistant principal, principal administration.
Word.
So this past year, I realized they were changing the test and I needed to take the test so that I didn't completely waste the schooling that I did. So I took that and then I realized, you know what? I might as well just go ahead and apply for the AP pool because I was getting some leadership experience this year with some stuff with my district. So it's been a very long process since December, but I've made it through all 4 rounds now and I'm in the pool. And the pool is what you need to get into in order to be able to interview for opening positions for administration in our district. So I'm in the pool and going swimming. It's a pool party and I'm really excited. It was a very long process. There were times where I thought it was not going to happen. There were times where I got exhausted. And it happened.
Yeah, I mean, you've essentially, I mean, you do not have a AP job yet, but getting in the pool is basically the district saying they believe that you
I'm qualified
are qualified to get the job.
Yeah.
So now it's just
a big deal.
Now it's just about finding a principal that you get along with, and then bam,
and then we make the magic happen and change the world.
Money, I quit my job. Full-time,
not that good.
Full-time puppy daddy.
So are we getting more puppies?
No, just
we're
the 2.
We're going to have 3 dogs now?
Just the 2.
Okay.
Just the 2.
Okay.
No, it's very exciting. I'm very, very proud of you. I'm so happy for you. The interesting thing about this is, this is when I learned about the concept of your successes are my successes and your failures are my failures, which is something that I've always heard.
I mean, we had our vows,
Yeah, no, but I'm saying I'm saying it is something you say in part of the vows, and is something people say about marriage and about long-term relationships and stuff like that. I've always believed it. I don't think I've ever felt it as strongly as I did until last night and
today,
most of today.
Yeah,
because I was very nervous. Did
it make you more nervous when I told you that I didn't want to read the email and I was going to make you tell me? Did that make you more nervous?
No. I mean, that actually, it made me smile a little bit because it's like, you want me. It feels good to be needed sometimes. And so it was, I thought that was nice. Okay. But no, I mean, I was very nervous all day. And I was not nervous because it was not like if Elyse doesn't get this, she's going to be in a shitty mood nervous. It was generally like I wanted this for us. And I mean, we've only been married 2 years now, but it is very cool to see I mean, we've been us for a while.
Yeah.
But it's like seeing your brain where it's really, really, really wired into that now, where this is you did it and I'm so happy for us. And that's really cool.
Yeah. Thanks, babe. That's very nice of you. That can be your rose next week.
Okay. But my rose this week is I started my new job today.
Yeah, you did.
Which was an interesting experience because the first thing I got in the morning when I got into work at 8 a.m. was, hey, Scott, don't come up till noon because we're not ready for you. They hadn't cleared out my cube yet.
Aww.
So I just worked, and I had a bunch of meetings and stuff, but I just worked from my old place. So I went up at noon, and I have a manager's cube now.
Oh.
So I got a table behind me, and there's this beautiful view, and it's
it was a nice picture. I liked it.
Yeah, it's a big cube, and there's no one behind me, so no one's snooping on me.
It's nice.
And yeah, it's gonna be a lot more work. It's gonna be a more challenge, absolutely. But I got a new cube.
You did.
And in the world of being,
if you can't get a corner office, at least get a view.
In the world of being a slave to the corporations, getting a bigger cube is a pretty big deal, especially in my company where even if you do get an office, very, 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 very few of the offices have windows. Is mostly
I'm gonna get
middle
a
offices.
smaller cube. I go from a very large cube
Yeah, but your
to a
cube,
small cube.
your cube has like 25 brats in it, where your new cube
27.
will have a door that you get to close and make the children go away.
No, I don't just get to go and hole away in the office.
But you can.
I could, but that's not what the job is about. The
I
job is
understand.
about being with the kids,
Well, not as
being
much
with
as a teacher.
the teachers. I gotta know what's going on.
The point
Scott.
is, your current office,
Yeah.
the children are there.
It's true.
Where your new office,
Only the
that's
bad
not
children
yeah.
are there.
And you enjoy yelling at bad children. You
No,
are
I don't.
Elyse Daly.
What? Were you about to say I was made to yell at children? Is that what you were about to say?
I was saying you were made for this job.
That's true. I was made for this job.
Tell me why you want to be a middle school principal, Elyse. Is it because you want to yell at the children?
It's because I know what's right for people.
All right, well, that is it for Roses and Thornies. Elyse, let's talk about this movie that I made you watch.
Okay, let's talk about it. Revenge of the Nerds.
So we were talking about 1984's Revenge of the Nerds. Here is Elise's summary of the movie. Gilbert and Lewis embark on one of the greatest journeys there is, going to college. Once they get there, they're a bunch of bros who burn down their frat house and throw these little freshies out of the dorm.
We always call freshmen freshies.
Nope, you're the only ones.
Me and all of my friends in college, we always called them freshies.
Call them freshmen or fish.
Oh no, we called them freshies.
All the freshies are allowed to join frats because the college feels bad. And the nerds are rejected from all of them. Eventually, Gilbert Lewis and a bunch of other rejects find their home in Tri Lambda. In order to be accepted by the college and Greek life, they decide it is not enough to go Greek, but they also must take over the council. They battle against all of the other frats and sororities for the title and chance to win the Greek council presidency. In the end, they win, but they're also awful while doing so, so I guess they really lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie,
Yeah. Let's talk about this movie, Scott.
the word problematic comes to mind.
Okay.
With a capital entire word, because it's really, really problematic.
P, and that rhymes with T.
And that
And
stands
that
for
T, and that rhymes
that
with P.
stands for pool.
And that stands for pool. Stands for pool.
So I watched this movie when I was younger.
Yeah.
This movie had boobies in it, so teenage Scott, big fan.
Loved the
big
movie.
Fan.
Okay, noted.
Also, I was a nerd. I mean, like I was not a nerd in the way that Gilbert and Lewis are nerds. Like this is very 80s version of nerds where they're wearing the pocket protector and they have the ties.
yeah.
But
But you were a nerd.
I
think you were a nerd in high school.
I was not like this though. I was just not in the in crowd. I liked things that ostracized me from the popular kids. That's just the way I was.
Okay.
So this idea, the functional idea of a group of the outcasts banding together to strike back against the popular
You loved
kids,
this.
was an appealing proposition for me.
Did you and your friends decide to try and do that at any point in time?
No.
No?
I don't know if I ever watched this movie with any of my friends.
Okay.
Out of all my friends, I feel like I was always the one that liked movies the most. So,
Okay.
but this movie was made in 1984,
It was made in 1984.
and there is a series of
Pre-Scott.
there was a series of 80s comedies that are very troubling. They're very sexual. Like you probably never seen Porky's. You probably never
Nope.
seen those movies.
Nope.
Young adolescent boy comedies where it's all about sex and boobs and this movie has aged very badly. And I kind of knew this going in. Like, it has been a few years since I listened to a podcast about Revenge of the Nerds without seeing it and listened to them point out things that I've never considered in this movie, but I haven't watched it in this time. So I went into this knowing that I was probably going to be really horrified at some of the stuff that goes on in this movie. And I was. Now, this is not to say, I think we have to talk about this because I think this is important. I think there's still a lot of good, silly, fun stuff in this movie.
Booger was hilarious.
Yeah, Booger is great.
Yeah, loved him.
I think a lot of the Greek competition stuff that they did was a lot of fun. The ways that they cheated it too, where he took a pill so he didn't get drunk so he could do the trike ride, all that stuff. I I think the relationship between Gilbert and his girlfriend, who's Judy, I think her name was, I think that's kind of low key like this adorable, like normal, believable relationship where it's just two people that like the same things getting together and finding common ground and falling in love. Great. Everything else. So there is rape in this movie. That's what it is. Our protagonist pretends to be a jock, puts on a mask, pretending to be the girl's boyfriend, goes into a room with her, and they have sex, and she doesn't know it's him. That is the definition of rape. She did not consent to having sex with him. She thought she was consenting to having sex with someone else. You cannot do that. That is wrong. And the movie treats it as if he was just so good at sex that it's fine now.
And she left her boyfriend. Yep.
Yeah, she just fell in love with him because he's just so good at sex. That's fucked up. The depiction of the LGBT character in this movie is a fucking mess. The depiction of the Japanese character in this movie is a fucking mess. The depiction of most women in this movie that aren't the alpha pies, the moos, are seen as the ugly sorority, like they're pigs.
I mean, every school has one of those.
Okay, but that's terrible, Elyse. They're human beings. And
yes, but every school has one of those.
That's terrible. What are you talking about?
In Greek life, speaking from someone who's in Greek life, everyone knows the stereotypes between the certain sororities, and there's always one
that's not good.
Ate too many pies.
That's not good.
I mean, it's bad. Not great, but it always happens.
I was not in a fraternity or a sorority. I was in a business organization that had Greek letters, so it could pretend to be there, but it was a co-ed business organization. It was not any of those things. I don't think Greek life is good. I think it creates situations in which people are really nasty to each other.
It can.
And I think this movie accentuates that problem. And it's frustrating to me because this movie is supposed to be about the outcast, rejected people coming together to buck a system that doesn't want anything to do with them. And so many of the jokes are at the expense of the outcast people. So many of them.
You know, this just reminded me. When I was in college, I had a group of friends and they decided they didn't want to pledge a fraternity. And so they made up their own fraternity their sophomore year. And it is like the largest group on my university now. And it is still there to this date. And its name is, I don't know, should I say Zeta Zigazama? And it is like, it's huge. They had it and it was just like 6 of these guys that lived in their house. And then now it says nonprofit, and it was like they had to, you know, get registered, I guess, with the campus and stuff. And they have these huge parties every year. It was so fun. And I was there for the formation of it. And I guess it's kind of like them, only they didn't do any of the like really bad stuff that these nerd guys did. Are you looking it up now?
No.
Oh, I was about to say.
There was a fraternity at A&M that was like the nerdy fraternity. And I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Yeah, I mean, they got a Facebook page. They got these parties they do. It's a pretty big deal, Scott.
Look,
Triple Z.
Look, and I don't want to I don't want to offend anyone that's listening that was part of Greek life and loved it.
I was part of Greek life and I loved it.
Yeah, well, you're also the one making fun of the ugly sorority, so
I'm not.
You're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, Elyse.
I can also be part of the solution if I choose to be.
You can. And movies like this,
I'm not choosing.
And movies like this don't help with the solution because, like, look, we are in a world now where, guess what? The nerds won the culture war. The biggest movies in the world now. The biggest you know what the biggest show on television is right now? Game of Thrones. a show with dragons. The biggest movies in the world now are comic book movies. Like the nerds have had their revenge and they have taken over culture. And you know what? You know what the secret truth is? The group of nerds are just as exclusionary and gatekeepy and judgy as every other group that we used to be in the top of the social hierarchy structure. And I think this movie is a precursor to that, because they built this movie around rallying around these group of dejected people, and all it does is make fun of people for the way they look, the way they act, where they were born, their sexual orientation. And look, again, I know it was the 80s.
Yeah.
I know it was the 80s, but damn, disappointing. What did you? I've been talking too much. What did you think of this movie?
I told you, you're the one that talks on the shows.
Well, I was hoping you would like it would be back and forth there, but you weren't saying anything, so I just kept going.
I don't know. There are parts of this movie that I thought were really funny, and really the whole thing about this movie was that it just made me remember about my college years, and I loved my college years. They were a great time, except for being an education major in college, they kind of get, gypped towards the end because you're really paying to work a full-time job your senior year, which is not really cool. But yeah, like seeing them moving in, college experience, the frat houses, the sorority rush with it all, just made me remember those times, those fond times that I really enjoyed.
Like when you broke into a sorority and like installed cameras and then went back to your home and watched all the people and get naked.
No, I didn't do that. I did duct tape my RA into her room. That was pretty fun.
My hallmates removed my dorm door. They just took the door off and took it.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean,
did I ever tell you the name of my? Oh, I guess this kind of fits because we talked about nerd. I told you the name of my RA my first year.
No.
Her name was Jordan.
Jordan.
But it's
like,
spelled...
Like Jordan, but with E's?
Spelled Jordan.
Okay.
But you say it Jordan. We met her the first night. She goes, guys, hi, my name is Jordan. I know it looks like Jordan. It's spelled like Jordan, but it's Jordan. And so we called her Jerd the Nerd. And we spelled nerd N-O-R-D, obviously. And we were really mean to her.
Funny.
We duct taped her in her room.
Not funny.
Yeah, no, she was, interesting. I guess I'm not painting myself in the very nicest of lights. And you're probably thinking, she would have not been part of that.
Look, you were in college. People did stupid stuff in college. I think as long as you recognize that the stuff is stupid.
That it may not have been the nicest thing.
Yeah.
But we had fun.
Yeah.
And that's what college is about, right?
Sure. But,
having
it's
fun.
About learning, but...
learning in a variety of ways. You want to learn academics, but you also just want to learn how to be proper people in life, And I guess that's what I learned. That was good. Yeah, so I guess there were some issues with this, with what they were doing to the other groups. But, I mean, if you take all of that out, it was a pretty funny movie.
Yeah, if you take out half the movie.
Yeah.
It's not great. No, I
mean...
mean...
take out the whole revenge part, yeah.
It's just of the nerds would have been fine. Yeah, I mean,
nerds go to college.
Look, again, I think you could redo this movie now. I mean, you'd have to change it up a little bit. You could still do it with outcast, looked down upon people. But you could do it in a way in which you don't take shots at the people you're supposed to be highlighting.
Yeah.
Like Lamar, the gay black guy, I am really, really upset about how the movie portrayed him, because even the people in his organization seemed judgmental of his orientation, right?
Yeah. They did. They weren't very accepting.
No. So I don't know. It just but I think it's important that you go back and watch these things, right? I am glad that I went back and watched this movie that I enjoyed quite a lot as a little kid, or a teenager rather, and recognizing how culture and society has changed since that movie came out. So
I think that's important. And I'm glad that you acknowledge that those things are not appropriate now.
mm-hmm.
Like, have you not? That would be a little concerning.
Yeah. I will definitely, if we have children, I will definitely teach my son that breaking into a woman's sorority house, stealing their underwear while your friend plants cameras in their attic to watch them change, is really bad. It's really,
and maybe
really
I'm just
bad.
like extremely modest, but speaking as a girl, we never walked around like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's be very clear here. This movie was written by men.
Yes.
Who just assume that that's what women do when they're in their rooms.
No.
They just walk around naked all the time.
No.
Yeah. And you definitely fall asleep naked, except for your underwear, on top of your covers, laying with your butt facing the camera that's spying on you, right? Yeah, that's gross. That's so gross.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's seen as like this badass moment where they're like, all of our heroes like got back at those evil girls. Ugh.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Nerd alert.
Outcasts. Be nice to women.
Jared the nerds.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry some women don't like you, but that doesn't mean you get to be assholes to
And you
them.
know what else it means? One day you'll grow up and you'll get on a dating app.
Yeah.
And you'll find someone who might have treated you like that in college or high school, and then you marry him.
Look, I was a nerdy.
And I was not.
I was a nerdy, gross loser. And look what I'm married to now. I mean, you can't see her, but
I'm great. Come on.
But damn.
I know.
And there were times when I was
Sparkles
there were
in my
times in my
eye.
teen years when I was like, I'm gonna be alone for the rest of my life.
Yep.
I'm never gonna find a
Yep.
girl. No girls like me. I'm just too nerdy.
Yep.
And I mean, there are kids and adults who feel that way still. I mean, a lot of them get very angry at women and they turn into these involuntary celibate people. I don't know if you've read or seen a lot about the incels, but they are terrible, terrible, terrible people. And like, you can see some of this in this movie, right? The type of attitude that leads to that kind of belief about women, that these women rejected them and therefore they have the right to completely invade their privacy in one of the most disgusting moves in cinema. It's a path to some of this gross. And I'm sorry this has been a very serious episode because this is a comedy movie, and there were a lot of funny parts in it, but it's dripping with all this grossness, and I can't talk about the movie and not talk about this stuff. I can't.
You can't?
No.
Did you try?
All right.
No.
Today on this movie, two lovable losers go to college, and one of them is convinced that he's not a nerd, and the other seems very, very aware of his nerdiness.
Okay.
And then he goes on to become a doctor on the show ER, Emergency Room. And his name is George Clooney.
I like George Clooney.
Yeah, I was testing to see if you were paying attention, because it is not. Dr. Green in ER is played by Anthony Edwards.
And I know you said that thing about ER, but I never saw ER. So
He also played someone in Top Gun. Who did he play in Top Gun, Elyse?
I don't know. Who did he play in Top Gun?
He played Goose, Elyse. He played Goose.
Oops.
How do you not know Goose?
I know who Goose is. I just didn't know that's who he played.
I'm very upset.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can be very upset at me.
I will.
Okay.
All right. Do you have anything more you want to say about this kind of gross movie we talked about?
Nope.
You sure?
I'm glad we're done with it, and I'm really upset that we own it now.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing we had. So I think the public sentiment has turned so against this movie, rightfully so, that we couldn't find it streaming anywhere.
Yeah.
And look, ever since Thoroughly Modern Millie, I have taken it upon myself to, as soon as we decide movies, before we announce them, I go into my little streaming app, which is an app called Just Watch. If you don't have
great
it,
app.
you should get it, because it shows all streaming options across the internet. I put the movies in there and I make sure they're available to rent or for free streaming, so we don't get in this situation again. I didn't do this for Revenge of the Nerds.
No, you didn't. You just assumed.
Because in my mind, of course, this movie is going to be available to stream somewhere. It is a movie that spawned many sequels. It was very popular for a long time. It is, I mean, there's still some people today that like this movie, even though they probably shouldn't. But no, it's not streaming anywhere. So I had to run out yesterday to like a used movie store and buy a copy. So we own this movie now, and I'm never gonna.
So if
watch
anybody
it again.
wants it, just send your address. To...
We should have the first annual Vow to View giveaway where we give away a copy
one of the movies
Revenge
that
of the
we've
Nerds.
seen. Yes.
No, just this one. Just
this one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
If anyone wants a copy of Revenge of the Nerds,
I'm not kidding.
Let me know.
We don't want it in
No.
our home anymore.
No.
Someone else can have it.
Okay. So Elyse.
Yep.
We're done with some nerds.
We're done with the nerds.
Are you okay? I'm a nerd.
I know you're a nerd.
I'm still a nerd.
I know you're still a nerd.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, it's fine.
I think I'm like a cool nerd.
Yeah, I've made you cool.
No.
Yeah.
I think before I met, I think the reason you were attracted to me because you were like, that's one.
I didn't want to be alone.
That's a, oh, Jesus Christ. That's a terrible thing to say to someone.
I'm just What?
I'm a cool nerd.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you.
I made you cool.
No, it was before you. It was cool.
Scott,
I worked very hard to be cool. Don't take this away from me.
if you have to work to be cool, are you really cool?
I mean, debatably.
Meh.
I thought I was always one of the cooler nerds.
I'm sure you are.
I was never like socially awkward, you know? Like I was never
No,
one
you're
of
not.
those. I talk to people. I'm
You
friendly.
do. You talk a lot.
I talk too much.
You do.
I just like nerdy things. I like playing Dungeons and Dragons and video games and you say that shit in high school and people are like, ow.
But you say it now and they're like, wasn't that on Riverdale?
Yeah, they're like, fuck yeah, let's play some ghosts and goblins or
Yeah, gargoyles
and ghouls. Fuck, what is the name?
What is it?
G&G.
Yeah.
I just think they've been saying G&G for so long.
Goblins and gargoyles? Ghouls and gargoyles? It is gargoyles.
That's the Gargoyle King.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Oh, well. Chad Michael Murray. It all circles back.
To Chad and Michael Murray.
Yep. So what are we doing next week, Scott?
Next week.
Yes, please do tell.
We're going to talk about...
Oh, your movie's first next week.
It is.
Okay.
We're going to talk about some pie.
I love pie.
Want some pie?
I do. What type of pie?
Some good old-fashioned American Pie. So we are doing 2 pie-themed movies because you told me the other day that you had never seen American Pie.
True.
And this is... in the vein of Revenge of the Nerds, this is an adolescent sex comedy, but this one's from the 90s. So let's take
we're just moving
journey.
up a decade.
I think after this, I'll do a 2000 sex comedy, and then I'll do a 2010 sex comedy.
I'm so
And
excited.
we'll just see, because like the 2010 sex comedy I would pick would be Blockers, and I think that would show just how fucking far we've come in our adolescent sex comedy.
I did like Blockers.
Yeah, but this is a 90s movie. American Pie.
Yeah, never seen it.
Made a lot of stars. I can't wait to talk about this movie.
Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy.
Love me them eyebrows. That's why I married you. Your eyebrows.
Oh. I can't help that they're bushy.
You can trim them.
Try to pull them all out.
Don't pull them out. You just trim them down.
It's a lot of work. I'm just going to grow back.
Did you shave your head this morning?
I did.
Noticed. It looked nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, so that is next week. This has been a ridiculous episode.
I thought you said it was a serious episode. Seriously, ridiculously awesome.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's ridiculous because, I don't know. I expected you to be talking more about how the treatment of women offended you to your core. You don't really get offended. At least
Well, the thing is, too, I was like, Greek life. So it was like...
It's terrible.
So it was like, hey,
That's awful.
Greek life, you know?
Yeah, sure. It's fine.
You know.
Rape, you know.
No, that's not fine. That's not cool, but Greek life.
Should be abolished. It's bad.
I had fun.
Great. You can have fun without sororities and fraternities in college. Trust me.
You could. But not where I went.
Okay, that is all we have time for this week. We'll be back next week to talk about American Pie. some Jason Biggs.
Are we going to have some pie when we film it or record it?
How about you wait till you watch the movie before you tell me if you want to eat some pie?
Well, then when we watch mine, we have to eat pie. Okay. I have a cookbook that goes along with mine. Maybe I will make some pie based on the movie.
I like it.
Okay.
All right, that is all the time we have for you guys.
And I don't want you to make a pie based on your movie, please, because I already know I don't.
I'll make you a special pie.
I don't want your special pie. Thank you.
That is all the time we have for this week. If you like this podcast, you can check it and all the other shows we do over at our website, www.doofmedia.com. Also, you can consider becoming a patron of Doof Media.
Yes.
How do they do that, Elyse?
They go to patreon.com/doofmedia and they look at all the wonderfully restructured things on your Patreon account.
There's not really that much that was restructured.
Well, now it's just people, right? Like, the more that... No?
Huh?
No? Have you not done that?
Yeah, I mean, yes, there are goals and there are rewards for people that donate at the level.
Oh. I'm so confused. Anyways, you go to patreon.com/doofmedia and get confused with me.
Also, if you
give us your money.
If you happen to be...
Don't be confused about that. We'll always take your money.
Always. If you happen to be listening via Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and a review. It helps people find the show. And we don't have any new ones to read, and that makes Elyse really, really sad.
Yes, it does.
You don't sound sad. At least do a sad voice for me.
I'm crying now.
Of course you say.
I don't keep it inside. I have to let all you know my pain. I want to read another review. Please won't you write one for me to read out loud.
Yeah, I think that earns a review right there. You guys better not let her down. All right, we'll see you all next week.
That was pretty good, right?
Elyse,
right on the
Elyse,
spot.
Elyse.
What, Scott?
Elyse.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on the job.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. I'm glad I made you cool.
You didn't though. I was so cool before you.
No, I helped you out quite a bit.
No, I was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
You sent it. I had the Lord of the Rings sword on my wall. So cool. The shards
You
of
did not.
the shards of Narsil. It was so cool.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was so cool.